Someone recently told me that they're reading Will Smith's biography and they recommended the book highly, and they're talking about this one specific part of it where basically Will gets his first big acting gig in a movie. He was doing Fresh Prince at the time, now he's actually going to like full cinema film, and he decides to do method acting, you know, to really get into the role. And method acting, if you're not familiar, is basically when you're off set, you still continue to try to be the character, to try to encapsulate certain parts of their aspects. That way you really are just the character 24/7 and you get really good at nailing them. So he's doing this method acting thing, and then his partner at the time, like, he was looking at her a certain way, very different than he normally would, and she's like, "You're scaring me. Like, stop being this character like now." And it was hard for him to turn the character off, and he eventually did. And this one quote he talks about, he says, "We realize the characters that we play in a film are no different than the characters we play in life. Will Smith is no more real than Paul. They're both characters who are invented, practiced, and performed, reinforced, and redefined by friends, loved ones, and the external world. What you think of as yourself is a very fragile concept." So this all goes into just the ego being inherently super fragile. You know, people say when they go on immense life journeys, on drugs and whatnot, they have this ego death, which basically signals that, hey, I've lost sense of self. Some people forget their own names even. And this is a similar concept where he's like acting as Paul, people are calling him Paul, referring to him as Paul, that he forgets Will even exists. And when you really think of it, like, Will doesn't exist behind Paul. He isn't Will at his center. He's just a thing, a consciousness, which you can so easily just switch your personalities like that. If you act like a different person for an extended period of time, you will become that person. When people change their names, it's a redefinition of character. You're a new character always. If my name is currently Talon, let's say if I legally change my name to Frederick, there's parts of my personality I could just change like that and then carry on through that. This even goes into the psychological principle where if you want to start or break a new habit, you change your environment. Your environment can be as simple as your name. If you name yourself something different, you can start and break new habits. You can change your fundamental personality, your tendencies to do things. Like, I don't get how this just doesn't blow everyone's mind. If I start calling myself Frederick, I can change parts of my personality. I'm currently a super extroverted, love to spread myself thin type of guy, but if I change my name to Frederick, and Frederick is this person that I'm creating who he loves to only focus on one thing, he talks very quietly, and he doesn't talk very much and sits there in silence a lot. I'm now Frederick. I don't need to be some external thing. I don't need to label myself as such. I can just whisper to the camera and you listen. However, at this point, I choose to be Talon. I'm choosing to extern myself. Personality is often a choice that you subconsciously or consciously make, which is just mind-boggling to me. You know? Realizing that your inherent personality, you can wipe if you really take the time to practice another personality and practice another character. If you want to better your life and actually make this actionable, there's this great song I listen to motivate me sometimes. It's this whole album by this guy named Charlie Rocket, who he's a motivational speaker, and then he puts like beats over his speaking and publishes them on Spotify. So he has this whole album released, which is like basically like, I think, a 20-minute speech where in his life he's created certain characters. He had Charlie when he was young, whatnot, didn't really think about his character too much, and then he had Businessman Charlie when he was turned 8. And Businessman Charlie always wore a suit and always had a briefcase, and he maintains Businessman Charlie all up until, like, I don't know what age, and then he was like, oh shoot, I have to have a flip of character because all of a sudden Businessman Charlie had certain troubles where he was super unhealthy. And he's like, alright, I'm going to make Charlie Rocket, which is this insane athlete. All right, and that's where the name Charlie Rocket came from. Is he decided to change his character and totally reinvent himself into this completely new person. And I always took that as like, all right, like you're just calling yourself something different. You're giving yourself motivation, but no, you literally, your personality is so malleable that he literally created this new person who just encapsulated his body. Like, if this doesn't boggle you, click off this video now. I don't want you watching this because you're just not going to get anything from it. I highly suggest looking into that album. It's called Reinvent Yourself, Charlie Rocket, and phenomenal stuff right there. And this Will Smith quote, and just hearing about this happen in his own life. I've watched so many Will Smith movies. One of his movies, Hitch, was filmed like right down the street from me. Apparently I met him when I was like a baby. I don't remember it because I was a baby, of course, but apparently my parents and my babysitter met him with me in the stroller. So insane time there. And like, obviously with my last name being Smith, Will Smith has carried like a significant role as a movie star in my life. I'd say he's one of the few movie stars that like I could say I've recognized ever since I was a kid and knew their name. And I wasn't that into like film or memorizing people's names at the time either. That's just always been me. And that's part of my identity is I don't like to pay attention to people's names in politics and their names and this name and keep up what everyone else is doing because I'm busy with my life. And I can change that if I want. I could become tomorrow or even just this minute. I am now someone who's super involved in politics, who always loves to keep up with them, scrolls Twitter every day. No. But if I wanted to, I could shift my personality that way. So your personality is a choice. How you approach life is completely a choice. You know, I can't say about your results in life because that has to do with luck sometimes and putting yourself in certain situations. But if you currently are not a risk taker, you can convert your personality and start acting like a risk taker this moment. Reinvent yourself constantly. And that's part of why I try to make myself, and I live by this statement of 1% better every day, is because if you're incrementally making yourself 1% better, then after 365 days in a year, you are 365% better. Like, how can you not just transform yourself every 4 months? That's it. If you're 100% better, you should be a completely new person. And I try to reinvent myself every single day. And I get up with this mentality that I am this superhuman being who's going to accomplish great things. And that is my identity that I hold in this current moment. But take it as you will. If this is all just ear fluff to you, like, no big deal. Maybe you'll crack eventually and you'll have that realization. You'll be like, oh shoot. Maybe you'll never have that and you're still listening for some reason just because you're supporting me and whatnot. Like, thanks, I guess. But I hope someone, and as I said, my goal with each one of these videos that I'm putting out every single day is that someone takes this from it, has some sort of realization or takes some sort of action, and they are able to make some change in their life, hopefully for the better, or change in the world for the better. This is just an insight on how my mind thinks and what I'm currently thinking at the time of recording. And yeah, if you just enjoy some of this philosophical identity self-development content, feel free to subscribe. Plenty more to come. Leave a comment if you really enjoy this. That way I know to put out more videos like this. Like would also be appreciated. Follow me at Talon in Color on Instagram. Feel free to message me there. I respond to all my DMs, as well as at Escape Your Hometown for more of my travel content. You can check out all my links, my Twitter. I'm super active on nowadays. I've really seen the power of Twitter. So you can follow that at Talon_in_color, or just see all the links at hoo.be/Talon. Hope you all have an epic day.